So this coconut coir stuff is so great because it's like dirt, but it's clean. It's not all dirty and muddy and your pets don't get dirty feet. It's very, very, very clean. You can make a digging box with it, which is what I did here. I mixed it with some sphagnum so that if they wanted to dig and stuff, it would hold its shape. But they don't seem to want to dig. But I grew some wheatgrass in a pot and stuck it in, and they dug that and ate it. Rats love wheatgrass. I use it for bedding. So I have pet rats and pet mice, and I've tried all kinds of different things. I've tried just fleece, but the odor is just too bad. It doesn't control odor. I've tried the paper beddings like Clean and Cozy, but you know, my rats all got mites when I used Clean and Cozy, even after I froze it for the recommended 48 hours or more. So this is what I'm going to. They sell it in pet stores for pet bedding, but I read on a rat forum it's better to just buy one made for gardening because it's exactly the same thing but it's cheaper. So I get this on Amazon. The brand is Plantonics. It's organic. So I stick this in a freezer for 48 hours or more just in case. This is my standing freezer. This is the best purchase I have ever made for a rat owner. I got this from Home Depot. It's small. You know, it fits my bricks in there, and it fits any other bedding or any other toys I want to put in, like a cardboard box or rolls or whatever. So here's what I do. I fill up a little dishpan thing with hot water. Seems to work better. Take my nice brick, stick it in, sort of centered, so as it starts to expand, it doesn't overflow on the sides. I mean, you can just leave it, or you can dunk it, or do whatever you want. But as you can see, as it starts to get wet, it starts to expand. Right, so this is about 5 minutes later, and as you can see, it's a little dark, I don't know if you can see it, the stuff just expanded, and it's all soft. You can break apart with your fingers. If there's any hard spots, you can put some more water on it, but for the most part, oh, this is all done. So now you have this big tub of this mess, and what do you do with it? You take an old pillowcase, just put it inside the pillowcase, so all I do is I hold it up a little just to get some of the excess water out. As you can see, it's dripping out. I just give it a little bit of time, just a minute or two to drip out. I bought this big, I don't know, turkey roasting pan at the supermarket. Just about any supermarket would have these. They're pretty cheap. They're for making turkeys and then you throw them. They're very thin aluminum, but they're perfect. So, you stick your big thing in there. So what I do now is I spin this dry. I had been baking this in the oven to get it dry, and I used less water to soak it so that it wasn't as sopping wet, but it still took hours and hours. So, and plus it made a lot of moisture inside the oven that never quite dried out. So instead, I invested in this. This is a spin dryer from Panda. It's 3,200 RPM, and it's great. It was a little expensive, about $175, but it was well worth it because I can prepare an entire batch of litter in about 10 minutes. I had tried that first, which is a countertop thing by Laundry Alternative, but didn't really work. It was kind of a piece of junk. It leaked, and so I invested in this big boy. You just stuff it in there any way you can. You kind of reposition it and shift it around so that it all goes in. There it goes, bloop. Now this is the most important part. You have to get this as balanced as possible. So what I do is I just kind of do this so that it sort of falls uniformly to the bottom of the pillowcase. Try to get it right in the middle. And there. You take this plastic piece that you're supposed to put on top to make sure things don't come out the top, which they won't because it's just a single pillowcase. But so this thing has a little spigot on the bottom where the water comes out. It's sort of low to the ground, so it cannot fit like a bucket, but it can fit this pan, which is perfect. Now, when it starts to go, I'll tell you in advance, it shakes, shakes, shakes before it gets balanced. And it needs to balance out or else it won't spin properly. So if it keeps just rattling and shaking like it's possessed, I stop it. I try to reposition the pillowcase a little bit, and I try again. Sometimes it gets balanced right away, sometimes I have to keep tweaking it. So here we go. Let's see what happens. Possessed, 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 possessed. Alright, nope, that's not balancing itself, so I have to tweak it a little bit. See, the water comes out there. So let's try this again. Open it up. Try to make sure the bottom of the pillowcase edges are not all clumped up, so that as the stuff has to spread to the sides, it can do that easily. That feels okay, so let me try this again. Try to get it as centered as possible. It's the only trick about this, it's a little bit hard. Okay. So, here we go. Spinning, spinning. Possessed. Oh, see that? No longer possessed? No, still possessed. Let's see what happens. You have to hold it so it doesn't shake off your pan. Give it a minute, see what happens. There we go, it's starting to get better. You see that? It's not as vibraty. Okay. That's better. Now you can pretty much let go of it. Still a little bit wobbly, but there, you can let go and it doesn't move all around, and that means it's working the way it should. So, as you can see, a lot of water comes out. Okay, so it beeped and it stopped, and as it stops spinning, it vibrates a little more. By that point, there's not a lot of water coming out, hardly any, so I'm not going to worry about it, but if you happen to be around, you can hold it. And I wait until it stops spinning all by itself. If I open this lever, it'll put the brake on, but I'm trying to have this last for years and years and years and forever, so I don't want to put any extra stress on the brake. I'm just going to let it stop spinning by itself. But you can see how much water it took out. So I don't know if you can tell this on a video, but it's really dry. It's not like it came out of the oven, but it's not wet and clumpy. It's really... And you could use it just like this. I like to dry it out a little more. So what I do is I just let it air dry. I just leave this pan sitting out. Every time I come in the room, I stir it. When you stir it, if what comes up from the bottom is darker than what's on the top, then you're drying it out. And if there's big clumps, I just kind of break them up with my fingers. But your rats or your mice will do that anyway. It doesn't really matter. So I like to dry it out as much as possible, because if it's a little damp, it's possible that mold can form, which I don't want for my animals. But this is great. I would say this one batch, which is 1 brick worth, makes enough to cover the bottom of the Critter Nation. I have the metal stainless steel bass pans that have 3-inch sides, so it can hold up to 3 inches of litter, but I just put a covering maybe an inch deep on the bottom, and I put the eco bedding on top for my rats. For my mice, I just don't put any eco bedding on top. I just use this. The whole thing takes me about 10 minutes to do, and a brick costs $3 and change if you buy 10 or more. And this is the best stuff ever.